Hey everybody, David D. Hilster here. Yeah, I'm starting a little bit early today, but no problem. And I'm actually talking, so that's pretty cool. Most of the time, people, when I watch them again, there's one guy I watch, he's really great. I love him. I will not say who because I don't want to embarrass him, but it's like, it takes 4 to 5 minutes for everything to go. But I think they're lining lots of stuff up. But I figure, nope, I'm David D. Hilster. I am your dissident scientist and critical thinker. And I'm here on Friday evenings when I can, 9 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States. And was off last week because of Thanksgiving. I had 20 hours in the car, and hours with my father. We went to Thanksgiving for family outing, and we drove quite a while, and we talked a lot about our own model, and it was just fantastic. I came up with some really pretty cool ideas, but so I'm hoping to get on a little earlier so people will check it out and they'll know I'm on, because a lot of times I haven't been announcing them. But yep, there it is. I am live. I've been doing I got some more videos out. It's pretty cool, and somebody's here. Thank you so much for coming by. Starting a little earlier tonight. And I'm going to take a look at some of the news that's going on to a couple of places where I always look to get sort of ideas. If I actually have a lot of ideas. I'm working on an ether video, something I should have done a long time ago. I can't believe I haven't done that, but to talk about ether theory. I won't talk about that tonight because I'm putting together a video for it. But it's the most popular new model out there, or new model. One of the popular in our group, the CMPS. More people are etherists than anything, and I'm going to talk about why that is in my video. Not necessarily the right choice in my opinion, but it is a popular choice, and I have some ideas why that is too. But I often look at science. Two places I look to find things is news.google.com and under physics, because you've got all this mainstream stuff. Very rarely I don't think ever do you get anything that's actually worth looking at for what I would call new science. So I just myself go over there to take a look, and there's also all kinds of titles here. So let me put this up a little bit, see how this looks here. Okay, there we go. That looks a little bit better before I put this up. There we go. So you can go to Google News like this here, like I said, and this is under science. You click on physics, and you're going to see all kinds of stuff that you can rail on. If you didn't take a look at my last video, it's actually not just, I mean, it's easy to go along and bash all this stuff, but there's a great video I just did, because once in a while I'll get a link or an email, or on Facebook somebody sends me something in Stephen Hurl. If you haven't read any of the books on expansion tectonics, that's a great page I went over and gave you some insights onto the books. You know, books like this. There's Theories of the Earth and the Universe, and it says underneath that, A History of the Dogma of Earth Sciences. Now this is by Samuel Warren Carey. But the whole thing is he doesn't talk too much about Earth expansion, because he is known in the geological world, but he was trying to sort of hide the fact because he was sort of condemned, ostracized, or whatever for that. But you want to take a look at that video I just did. I think it was my last one, or my second to the last one. So anyways, looking at the titles, see if anything that's coming up a lot here. Probing quantum physics on a macroscopic scale. Quantum healing in is the new snake oil. Oh, so this is so funny to see the unicorn people saying that the crop circles aren't real, but that's what this is about. So the quantum healing means that the people in quantum mechanics, which are quite lost. I mean, it's the most bizarre sect of the science world. They are now looking at quantum healing. So somebody's gotten into that, and that's beyond. It's like the neutrino people. For those of you who don't know, the neutrino is something that Karazani clearly shows was invented to save special relativity. And when people are looking for them, if the neutrino's too big, then they're unicorns. Neutrinos are just another set of unicorns. That if it doesn't fit certain criteria, that's not one, because our unicorns, that can't be a unicorn. That's like 4 times as big, and that can't be. So that's not a unicorn. It's just crazy. Tabletop experiment fits current understanding of solutal convection. Playing with particle physics, a new light on significantly faster computer memory devices. This is our physics, so they talk about some practical stuff, revealing hidden information in sound waves, fascinating physics facts about snow, Feynman's Nobel Prize, Nobel medal up for auction, magnetic levitation makes a comeback, blah, 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 blah. I think the most interesting one here is playing with particle physics. Maybe it's a book. Oh, wait a minute. Is this a game? It's a unicorn game. You can make a game out of unicorns. I have no idea where I'm coming to, so folks, what is this? It's the rise in popularity of tabletop board games as mainstream adult hobby has introduced players to corresponding breadth of from exploding cats, top secret chili recipes, and now subatomic set. Oh my gosh, I should probably get this. Playing with particle physics and subatomic, an atom building game. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's really interesting. So I'm not sure it's something I think's worth looking at. But anyways, hello everybody. If you have any questions, I'm not seeing anybody. Top chat, live chat. Yep. So I'll put there. Hello. Hello to you all. Where are you hailing from? Sorry. No. Hello to you all. Good evening. Oh, people have jumped out. I guess they're just waiting for it. Oh, look at that. I went to the wrong place. So I guess people are jumping in because maybe they've not seen this before. Anyways, I better get on my toe. I'm losing people. They're coming in. Welcome, and I know there's some new subscribers, but one of the things I often do is look at comments, or I'll take questions, or I'll look at something that's, in fact, I will do that now. Let me get off of here, and I will go to Facebook, and I often save those things from Facebook. Most of the time they're from Einstein Facebook page, believe it or not, and they have a lot of crazy stuff there that I like to talk about. So anyways, let me take a look here. Albert Einstein, I'll type that in. If you haven't gone to, if you're not a subscriber to him, join the 19 million and not getting any bigger group. It's funny, it's the people, I guess, who Albert Einstein sort of stuck at 19 million, but they do make when Albert Einstein had his anniversary and those specials on TV, the people who had Facebook made money, and that's the most important thing. It's not whether Einstein's correct or not. Let's see if he has anything. If he does, then I will show it to you. Einstein's, this one comes up a lot, and this is something I think I've talked about, but Einstein started a book club, and here's his reading this. Why do you think they do this? Is this because they are trying to help you out with your life? What they're trying to do is say, Einstein's a genius. Look at that picture of him. And if he has a bunch of books that he reads, then you should read them too. You're going to know what super brains, because Einstein didn't have a regular head. He had a giant head with a super brain in it. And in that super brain, he reads, he had a list of books. If you have, I don't want to bore you if you've heard this story before, but I did interview Jack Rosenthal, I think was his name. Don't get me wrong on that. But I interviewed he was a personal friend of Einstein's, and in 2005 or 2006 or 2000, in the anywhere from 2005 to 2008, I interviewed him. And he would call me up at all hours of the night saying, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, you know what the greatest musician in the world is? Oh, it's Mozart." I go, "Why?" He goes, "Because Einstein said he was." So it's the same kind of thing, that we have this worshiping of genius. And I wonder if I commented on this. I often do. So let me see here. The 10 comments. Oh, I can see that. Let's see. Yep, Dave D. Hilster has a comment on it. And sometimes people come back and laugh at my comments. So view all 10 comments. There we go. Oh, here's one. Yep, see, look at that. 4 laughs. Because why? Because they worship this guy. They don't think, oh, maybe he could be wrong. So I have 1 thumbs up and all the rest laughing. And here's the meme I put in there. This one I made for before I got into Science Woke, and even before this channel, I was making memes. And this is Ron Hatch, and he's a holder of over 30 GPS patents. And he says, rather than support relativity theory, GPS actually reveals flaws in relativity. And that's Ron Hatch from the documentary Einstein Wrong the Miracle Year. That was a quote that I got from him, and he was very kind enough to give me that. And so I put those in, and you can see there's lots of laughs and stuff. Let's see, astronomers just detected an enormous ancient galaxy orbiting the Milky Way. I guess the idea always is that this is involving general relativity, and of course general relativity is Einstein and gravity, so that's what they talk about. Oh my goodness. Tattoos. Oh, this is the Friday. I guess every Friday Albert Einstein gives his followers can write in or send in their art. I've sent mine in. I've got actually a good one in there. I keep sending it, but they never put it in. I can attach a photo here, I guess, and do that. But no, I won't do that. I've already done that before. So anyways, if you have any questions, hi Dave, Lisa. Oh, Lisa, you're here. I have people bopping in and out. I probably have to be more organized because I wasn't that organized. I've turned it on today, and so I appreciate coming by. So some people come by and then they take off and leave, because normally I am trying to talk about something more concrete or more planned. So tonight I'm a little bit flying off the cuff here. 10 famous mustaches. If you look at half the stuff on this page, it's more of him talking, him looking. Is it Wednesday already? I mean, there's not a whole lot of substance. The pretend, put his head on a guitar. Astronomers discover a tadpole-shaped galaxy. What's that have to do with Einstein? This is the one I did. If you didn't take a look at my second to the last video, does the universe still need Einstein? Of course, these are really provocative. This is the New York Times, and oh my gosh, this is just a terrible, 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 terrible article. I went through it, and I said, here we go. It says, Einstein's theory is simply not the right direction. We have better models. And then I put the link to this. I do get people coming over and subscribing. So, it's just, oh boy. For familiar, explain Einstein's theory of general relativity still matters to them. She's a really good friend of mine. And, people will defend it to the end, and that's fine. She's actually an anthropologist, worked with some of the stuff when the space station was first going up, doing some studies between cultures. But this is what I call the difference between what I call critical thinkers and intellectuals. Intellectuals want to be right. They don't check or read anything about whether or not something's right or wrong. Critical thinkers will. You keep your mind open and say, okay, he could be wrong. Well, they'll tell me. Instead, what people will do will then just defend and say, well, you can't just simply say general relativity doesn't work, or it's not right, or it should just be thrown out. These people don't think so. Well, I can go and actually, go through there and talk about that, and step through those names and tell you why we don't need it. It is a good question for those people who would say, yeah, Dave, you can't just throw general relativity out. What happens to science? Well, nothing happens to science. The universe is the same universe. And in fact, NASA doesn't, my father and I were talking about that. NASA only uses Newtonian physics. They don't use quantum physics, they don't quantum mechanics. They don't use relativity at all. And you say, no, they do, because they say they use a general relativity to find exoplanets. No, they don't, because according to them, they think they are. But according to us, no. The bending and all the things that they're seeing that's being bent is simply light being bent through the coronas. If you have a star out there and it's got something going through it, and there's some type of pulsing going on, you say, oh, look, it's the light's being affected by general relativity. No, it's not. It's being affected by gases or coronas of suns in space. And just like when you put a stick into water, you see that water, you notice you put a stick into the water and it looks like the stick is bending and actually the bottom looks closer. Well, that's because light is changing. It bends light. It's not gravity that's bending light, and that's not the point. But what I'm saying is light bends when it goes through mass, or it reflects off a mass, or it can go through mass, whatever it is. But so the answer to the question is, you can't just throw it out. There's so many things that depend on it. No, NASA depends zero on it. Spaceships depend zero on it. There's nothing that we use of relativity in any of that. In fact, E equals mc squared, you're really hard pressed to find anything. My dad the other day, I think he did a video on that, or is doing a video on E equals mc squared. Go find an example of it. Atomic bomb is not an answer. If you go to the atomic bomb sites, most of the good ones will tell you that atomic bombs have nothing to do with E equals mc squared. That's not what Einstein did. It was never Einstein's, E equals mc squared, let's go build an atomic bomb. No, it was actually the whole atomic bomb. You know what the physicists did in the Manhattan Project, what their great discovery was? Here is the part of the radioactive uranium or plutonium. You're going to make a bomb out of whatever it is. That the big thing. Go watch the movie. There's a lot of movies or a lot of documentaries on this. What they did wasn't some amazing physics, subatomic discovery in quantum mechanics that collider particle physicists only could do. You know what they found out? If you explode plutonium or any type of radioactivity or very high potent material that can start a chain reaction, nothing happens. So what they do? They squeeze it. That was the big thing. In fact, if you watch that one, the Manhattan Project, I don't know if it was a movie or if it was a documentary or it was a recreation, Manhattan Project, that's what he says. He gets an orange and then he gets inspired that, we have to squeeze it. That was it. Squeezing an orange. And because of them squeezing that orange, we spend billions of dollars on particle accelerators from that point on to try to find particles that don't exist. So, look, got people here chatting away. We got 3 people here. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Hi, Dave. I purposely come by at 9 p.m. and listen to the whole thing, even left another. My goodness, I can't be that. Well, maybe it is. That's why I started the channel, because at my lunch talks with my friends, people would sit there and listen. So I said, well, maybe I'm saying something interesting. I don't know. Question: how did Einstein become so popular? Good question, and that's easy to, well, not so easy to answer. In fact, you know, you inspire me to do things, Lisa. I have some footage of an interview with a guy who studied Einstein's history really closely, and his wife. And he is very much under the impression that his wife did. And in fact, one of the specials on Einstein even had a poll after watching it, and 79% of the people who watched a story, a reenactment of he and his wife, believe that his wife influenced his work. In fact, maybe even did it. I have a musical for Broadway that I'm writing on that. It's basically based on fiction and fact. But the reason I'm saying this is the guy who I interviewed that didn't make it into the film. I interviewed him at the University of Connecticut. He is really into, have studied his life. And basically what he told me was very interesting, that Einstein was a pacifist, and they were looking to try to push a passive movement because of all the world wars and all the things that were going on. They had just got done with the Great War, and people were looking at the horrors of technology and what people were building to kill people, gassing people, and the new destructing type of things that they were building. So he was a pacifist. And Eddington, what happened was Einstein predicted that it came in 1919 when he became famous. If you watch my documentary, I do talk about that. But basically, what really put Einstein on the map wasn't his E equals mc squared, nor was it his special relativity of time slowing down, length contracting, and mass increasing. It was his prediction that light would, in fact, gravity embeds light. And so Eddington went down to actually Brazil, where my wife's from, where I lived for a couple of years, 3 years ago, for 3 years, and keep moving my mouse. And what happened was Eddington went down there for the specific task of trying to show he was already, it's what I call confirmation bias in psychology. He was already biased to find it. In fact, Nature magazine in the 1980s, the late 1980s, I believe, published an article. They're sort of trying to retract it now, but they published an article saying that the data found by Eddington, the plates in which he was looking at the stars and where they were before and where they were after the eclipse, or where they're supposed to be, that the data actually wasn't good enough to really show it. Although now they say they've shown it. So in 1919, he went down to Sobal, Brazil, and set up telescopes there, took prints, and he actually, according to a lot of people, cherry-picked the data and picked some things that looked to be confirming it, and came back with a giant confirmation. And of course, at that point, then people were looking at it, and then of course you can find it. Now we all know that what we say is really happening is that the sunlight is going through the corona. But what really launched him into fame was that he predicted that gravity bent light, and that was that's a really different notion. People had, that was like really amazing. And then they saw the guy, and he had the hair, and so he was the prototype for the mad scientist. There were no mad scientist icons or archetypes before Einstein. So what did you get? You had this person saying this is a great discovery. Then they go back and they look at all the craziness of the space-time, and space-time is bending, and that's what creates gravity. And we were at a time where we were into mystical stuff, and we were thinking we were the greatest on the planet Earth. And with that hair, he became, an instant. And it was also at a time where mass media worldwide was becoming more and more common. So he was really the first mass media hit darling of the science community. But it was the 1919 solar eclipse that launched him into fame. Okay, wasn't some sort of clerk. Yeah, he was a patent clerk, which is really strange because one of the biggest questions everybody asks us who are outside the mainstream is like, oh, do you have a degree in physics? I said, no, I don't have a degree in physics, but it turns out that our chief scientist of our group does. She has a doctoral in physics and wrote it on special relativity, and she is one of the people who are saying it's wrong. But of course, the whole idea with this whole thing with wasn't he some sort of clerk? Why am I going off on all this? Because titles matter. The whole story of a person who's like this beach guy now that has 256 dimensions, or some 256 wheel kind of thing, that may be the new model for the universe because he's incorporating all the bad model of the standard model. Well, he's a surfer dude. We want stories of a guy in the wheelchair going like, who can hardly talk. We want him to be a super brain. We have these human stories. The human story is what made Einstein famous as well. The hair, the idea that light bends, oh, this is crazy. He became the archetype of the mad scientist. And then what happens when he's a patent clerk. So here's this guy sitting in a patent clerk thinking amazing thoughts, and he's a genius. His brain is this big. In fact, when he died, they took his brain out and it's in a jar somewhere, and Missouri or someplace, and we have this idea that they are superbrains. That's what this is. This is my superbrain, and we have this idea that geniuses exist and that they're stories of rags to riches, of the person who's the patent clerk that becomes, you know, one of the greatest scientists of all time. That's just one of the things. Let's see. He was a plant like many others to deceive us. Maybe, I don't think so, but you never know. I'm gonna see. I see. Dissident Science. I sent you a 3-part interview about the electric universe. Did you get around to it or no? No, I didn't. I'm sorry. I will definitely look at that. You know, I do look at them now and then, but because it's just, you know, I applaud them for what they do, but they have a tendency to make everything, you know, electric, and there's, I don't know. They also said something the other day. I saw Walt Thornhill. I'm on the Facebook. I mean, on YouTube, and they do launch these, and I'm also on Facebook, so I'll see this. But I saw Walt Thornhill, which I know him. He knows me. You know, he's a great guy. I love his work. I love the Electric Universe people. But for me personally, I think there's some things that I don't necessarily agree with. And you know, he made some joke about, well, this is the only place you can go to get science, and I understand that, and I understand where that's coming from. But he sort of said it in a way that almost precluded even people from our group. I had that feeling. I felt when he said that was a sort of a club kind of feeling I got. And again, I'm not here to wail on anybody or say that they have no right. I will support them up and down. If somebody says, do you think they're right or wrong? I says, it doesn't matter. They're out there trying to give new explanations, and I believe some of their work is absolutely valid. But me personally, it's not my cup of tea. I'm more Newtonian. I believe that all the electric stuff actually comes from Newton. We can explain it all with Newton. We don't need any electric fields or charges or anything, because our model does it that way. But I also think it's become very, you know, it's not a cult, but it is a club. And if you're not part of it, you're somewhat shunned. And I do know that people have that feeling sometimes, but I still will support them. That is they have the absolute right to do what they do. They get a lot of people become critical thinkers, and some of them even come our way. We have the Electric Universe people that come our way. We have Electric Universe people that hate my guts, even though I support them, because I do tell people what I think. And this is my channel, but I do not preclude them as saying that it's a hoax or it's pseudoscience. Absolutely not. They do things with ancient petroglyphs and those kinds of things. Velikovsky. You know, I think it is very commendable that they look at this and that they follow this and they see this. Do I agree with it? That's a different thing. Most of the time, I'm sort of either that's okay, it's not mine, I'm going to let it be, because it's not going to do me much good or them much good for me to sit there and tell them everything I think that I disagree with it. So, you know, I will definitely take a look at them for you, Lisa. And maybe if you send those again to me, I'll check, or if that was an email. I know why electricity flows at the speed of light is an EM phenomenon. Electricity, a flow of particles, or maybe not. Dave, you follow suspicious observers, Ben Davison and Electric Universe. I don't know. No, I don't, obviously, because I don't know about that. Maybe I'll look it up while we're looking at this. Ben Davison. Whoops, what am I doing? I'm showing everybody everything. I should get off of there. Be more careful here. Ben Davidson, Electric Universe. let's see, I will look that up. Same reason Tesla is forgotten. Fan of Tesla. Thanks, Dave, for addressing my question. No problem. Hey, peeps. Duplicate. See you there. Degree in physics means you have parroted. Absolutely. Reddick. Yep, I agree with you on that. He says, parroted. That says, I agree with you. Just as said. I think we'll appreciate this particle interview, Dissident Science, and it was not wall for me. Okay. Particular. Okay. I think you will appreciate it. No. We had a parallel. Did we? Yeah, we did. We had a parallel conference in 2008 or something like that at the University of Maryland. I think it was the University of Maryland. And we had 2 big rooms, and we had hundreds of people at our conference. And we sort of had, was it that one? Or was it, and we did a number of conferences with them, one in Phoenix, Arizona, too. So we had a lot of talks. In fact, we gave Wal Thornhill the Sagnac Award, which is our Lifetime Achievement Award for his work. So absolutely, there's stuff that's good there. Okay, Radix Cerny. Dave, everything might just be electric. I will tell you why here's the way I would answer that question. There are some things that we call electric. Electric fields, magnetic fields, positive, negative, we call it attraction. We call electricity, obviously, lightning. We have attraction by magnetic fields, charge, what we call charge. But here's the problem. Our particle model will describe all of this we do not need charge. We do not need positive and negative. We can do it all in Newtonian terms using fields of particles, and either flowing or random. And with that, we can construct the whole universe, and we don't need to put a positive or negative on anything. So what I would say to everything in the universe is electric, and this is where electric universe and I differ, is that it all can be explained by something simpler. Charge and positive and negative. I do have one with charge. Look up Dissident Science Charge, and you will see my talk on that. But in our particle model, one of our old books, man, we got a bunch of old books here. This is so funny. I'll pretend they'll be collector's items someday, but they're, never know. But I don't know. Look at this. I got 3 of them here, I think. Oh my gosh. Look at this. We even got different this is our book, Universe Hack 3.0. Here, look at it. You can see they're even different thicknesses, and this is our latest one, Universe Hack. It's about 250 pages, and let me read you what it says here. It says a particle model for light, gravity, charge, electricity, fire, lasers, magnetic fields, atomic structure, atomic bonds, atomic polarity, refraction, reflection, mass increase, including a solution for the wave-particle duality, and the double slit with detector. So we explain charge is just an arbitrary thing. Oh, I have a trivia question for you guys. Here's the question. Who was the first person to put positive and negative into the world of science for what we call for electricity? Who was it? I'll give you like 10 seconds. I think it takes a 10-second delay, so what I see here is 10 seconds. So anyways, that is my answer to everything is electric. Some things are electric, some things aren't. Gravity isn't, but that's our model. That's my belief. I can't believe that you have to explain to me what an electric field is, why there's negative and positive, and what forces makes it. What we are saying, it's a fundamental thing, but what does that mean? If we have these 2 things here, and we call this positive and we call this negative, and we say that's an attraction, why? What forces in the universe make that happen? Not just because I put a plus sign on this and a negative. Well, we say, well, we can say that the Earth is negative, and the sun is positive. You know, maybe that's what people up a level in the universe are going to say. They're going to say that. So what I'm saying is that I think there's one other model other than our own that doesn't need electric charge, and there are not a few number, but quite a more people than you think that know charge is, well, Glenn Borkert, infinity. He also says that charge is not real, it's a concept. Sure, no worries. We'll send again. Okay, thank you. If anyone's interested, it's Richard D. Hall's channel. He's across the pond in UK. Oh yeah, they have a group of Electric Universe people in the UK. Now I will say this: the Electric Universe is actually a big group of people with a big spectrum of people there. There are people that don't go really subscribe so much to the historical stuff where that's not their thing. There are people that are more into that and not into the scientific side. 10 years ago, the Electric Universe didn't care about saying Einstein was wrong. Now they talk about it constantly. So they are also shifting in good directions, but again, their whole premise is that everything's electric and that, of course, gravity. So again, if you have a model, here's something that Dr. Alexander Unsicker talks about. If you have a model that's simpler, that's the idea, and our model is simpler. We don't need positive, negative at all. We need the electron goes around, or the particle that goes around what people call the electron that goes around a nucleus is going around it because it's got one level down the gravitational field, which is just a bunch of particles going in random directions, and that will cause bodies close to each other to attract. I think you can put links here, so that shouldn't be a big problem. Observers, folks, space weather. Boy, tonight, I don't know, it's because of Thanksgiving, people are not are still hungover or something, but appreciate people coming by. Let's see, Dissident Science, are you saying that both models could work, like the Electric Universe and the particle model that you and your dad did? Sorry, you keep saying dumb questions. These are, you know, it's funny because here's the way I would translate dumb questions. They're fundamental questions. So anybody, so they always say, no, it's not a dumb question, because people who are not trying to think of the details. Well, a lot of times when we're looking at something and we think we're so smart about something, where we don't question the very fundamentals of it. Like, and what a big question! What a great question! Could it be that the Electric Universe people are right and that the particle model is right? Super great question, and it has an interesting answer in my mind. And since I know everything and my answers are right now, I'm joking, folks, but just being in this perspective of being around many models, obviously, I look at them, I read about them, I am fascinated by them. The way I look at it is this: it's an engineering view of the universe, and to me, the engineers are the ones who make the universe go. It's the engineers that get us out in space. It's the engineers that make lasers and use lasers without the physicists knowing how the heck it even works physically. We have all kinds of people using chemistry and atoms without knowing. Those are engineers. They're chemical engineers, I call them. They're electrical engineers. They're space engineers. They're mechanical engineers. Those, to me, are real physicists because they are using equations or models or systems like with electronic circuits where they use, what is it, currents equals something equals I over R. My dad's going to shoot me for not knowing that, but there's equations for putting together circuits, and all the system that they have developed for this. So the reason I'm talking about this is that when you are looking at different models, it's the same thing as looking at different computer languages. So is the language we use to write this OBS interface that I have here on the screen and that I use for these broadcasts that almost everybody uses, It was written in C++. Other programs are written in Python. Other programs are written in C#. Other ones are written in PHP. Other things are database languages like SQL, MySQL. We have NoSQL databases that use graphing kinds of systems, all kinds of stuff. Are they right or wrong? No. So what I would say is, for instance, the model we have has one goal. It's to tell you what the physical world's really doing, what it really is. What is light? Other models don't do that. If you look at it, what I would say is the electric universe model. It's not right or wrong. The electric universe is going to look at it in their way with their model. And they're going to predict that when some object hits a comet, there's going to be a flash because they are looking at the electric side of it. So what I would say is if their predictions, if their experiments, I think, what's it called? The Sapphire. I believe that's their experiment that they're doing, spending money to do the Sapphire. And if they have a model and they have a prediction and that model predicts what's going to happen, or they predict, or Walt Thornhill predicts that when the probe hits the comet, you're going to get a flash, then that model predicts that. All we have are models, and the only thing models can do is try to predict the world. Try to give us a model so we can manipulate the world. So if we have models of atoms, we can say, okay, this is the way they sort of stick together. I don't know exactly how, but I'm going to invent this thing called plus and minus, and no one's given me the answer on the plus and minus yet, huh? I will give you the answer on the plus and minus. Benjamin Franklin, one of my heroes, actually. I love that guy. He was a statesman, quite a philosopher, and a scientist. So he was the one who called things positive and negative. And then, so what it means is that we're going to have different models, and these models are going to have different predictive powers, but the difference between a lot of different models is that their models are looking to describe certain things, but they don't describe others. What will happen is we'll start out with electric universe and saying everything's electric, and then they look to see how they can explain it all with positive, negatives, and fields, and how those work. Where we look at it in a different way, where we're saying, no, I want to know the physicality, because electric field, you're not telling me what it is. Is it particles? Is it dust? Is it nothing? Is it mathematics only? I don't believe that. So the difference between, for instance, the model we have is that we're trying to give a physical reason to everything. And so you have the electric universe. The only thing models can do is you cannot prove a model. And if you look at my video criticizing Dr. Don't even know if he's Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, and when he was asked if Einstein could be wrong, and he laughs, and he said it's proven millions of times a second in particle accelerators. No, you can't prove anything. You can't prove anything. You can't prove that any model is right. What you can do is show support for the model. And I'll give you an example of that, and that's the periodic chart. The periodic chart is very well organized. It's used for many, many, many years. But guess what? We don't know, we don't even think about quarks when we're doing the periodic chart. Yet we still don't have a good model of how atoms and molecules fit together. We have computer programs that try their best at it, but they tweak them all the time, because every time you use a computer program to try to build a new molecule, it ain't perfect, because when they do build it and then they look at it with like an electron microscope or something like that, they find out, ooh, it's not exactly that way, and they adjust it. Why? Because we don't have a real good model. What we have is that a simple model of the atom, really. We have protons, neutrons, and electrons. And we say that there's positive charge and negative charge, and they have to balance out, blah, 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 blah. Electron isn't got magical powers. It doesn't have a plus sign. We never saw a plus sign on an electron. What it is it's what we think it is a particle, and it's whirling around the nucleus, and it stays there. And just because we say there's a plus on it, and the proton's being a plus, and the electron's a minus, then they stay together. Well, no. So the electric universe chooses to stop at that level. They choose to stop at that level. And then you have predictive power. Yes, you can predict. But we are still in our infancy. The only big thing that we have done since Newton is really the atomic structures of simply that there's a nucleus, there are electrons. We try to put it down, but we don't have any explanation, because we should have whole numbers for even atoms. But the way they combine the nucleuses, we don't know. There are now particle physicists today who think, and that's Dr. Bill Lucas has said this, that there is no neutron. What? So we are still in our infancy. Even with atomic structure, we're not good at it. And until we get a real physical model of what's going on there, and it's not has to do with quarks, we're still pretty much stuck. We've been 450 years trying to come up with a model. So the answer is the electric universe has their model and their predictions. It has to do with positives, negatives, and electric fields. They're not going to tell you what that is. They're just going to say that's what they are. And then what they're going to do is they're going to use that model to do predictions, to prove that if you were to say that I can prove to you that the universe is electric, you're lying. No one can prove anything about anything. All we can do is come up with models, come up with a periodic chart, come up with rules for electronic circuits, use those to our benefit to manipulate the universe around us. That's what is happening. Do we do it with quantum mechanics? People say, of course we do. We have quantum computers, but I've told people about that as well. We have quantum computers because those things have to do with non-zeros and ones. It has nothing to do with quantum mechanics. It's zero. You know, it's people. I saw. Go to my second to the last video from this one. Go 2 videos back from the. If you're watching this recording, go back 2 videos from this one, and you're going to see the one on Albert Einstein. The page, does the universe still need Einstein? You're going to see things that are just make your toes curl when it comes to saying that quantum mechanics or relativity or whatever it is, it makes us be able to smell a rose or something like smell some flower. Guys, no. Go and look for yourselves. Don't take my word for it. Go out there and try to find a real example of E equals mc squared. It's not the atomic bomb. And like I said, my father was looking for it. So again, multiple and different models are going to have different abilities to explain the universe. In our particular model, it's one of the more thorough models. We'll tell you exactly what something is. We can tell you exactly what light is. We can tell you why that light bends, you know, and we can tell you physically what it is. This is what it is. And to me, that's what people are wanting. And I'm not doing it because my dad and I sat down one day on the beach and said, hey, let's do a model. It was just me hanging around with people and my dad having this big breakthrough. And that's what happens. But models can't be proven. One model can be better and more explanatory. And I actually started an article in just title format today. And you know what I'm saying? Is the next physics model that we will accept isn't going to be chosen by the physicists and the eggheads and the intellectuals and the universities. It's going to be chosen by us looking at all these models and people just using them. A guy I know, Chris Ekman, who's in the CMPS, has been looking to see with our model what if we had any things that he can do with the model and do things that haven't been done before. Now that's a good model. Is it right? No. It's a good model, yeah. Is it proven that model then that that's the way the universe works? No, it's a model that mimics what we're doing with the universe, and it's useful, because that's another moral question, is do we sit around doing all these things and there's no use for it? And, you know, oh yeah, we can just talk about unicorns all day. They don't exist, but hey, it's making a living because we talk amongst ourselves and pay each other stuff, and universities pay us to pretend that we're advancing science. I almost said Ben Franklin. He was a pretty kink. Yeah, he was. He had a. I know he had a lot of girlfriends around there, that's for sure. But he was a fascinating man. Nothing isn't as it seems, plus and minus, a delta scale. Nothing simple, okay. There really is no such thing as negative. Everything is equated to a charge potential difference. Yeah, I mean, if you look at mathematics for physics, you should only be working in the first quadrant where y and x and z are, well, in that case you got 8. Is it 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Only in positive, because negative is just our number system where we decide to put an origin somewhere and go past that origin. That's in the physics world, you don't need it. You don't need negative. Periodic table, wasn't it verified versus alchemy table? No, it's a better model for sure. The part of the periodic table is a wonderful model. Yeah, absolutely. It's not real accurate when you start building molecules, because at that point then you're just sort of making rules up. Don't know. Our model has gives you some reasons for that. Wow, it's like tonight. What, the peak was what, 7 or something? Don't have a whole lot of people here. Ben Davidson, the path forward is clear. Promising electric universe investigations. Sun earthquake connections. Breaking the glass ceiling, and Ben will discuss about the path forward and the vantage point of the founder of. Well, let me read about this here. This is EU 2016. What's it say here? Make sure that's okay. For an obscure and outlandish idea from driving behind the much. Let me show you guys. Here I am. Let me move it over. There you go. From an obscure. The path forward is clear. It says, from an obscure and outlandish idea has come the driving force behind much of the discovery of modern science. Electricity, electromagnetics, electrostatic forces. These are underappreciated elements in our universe. Could be, yes, very much. Underpinning the interactions and phenomenon we are not yet fully to understand. Puzzling observations that confound modern understanding all point to a keen observer down those same lines of investigation. How will electric universe break the glass ceiling? Ben discusses ideas about path forward for his vantage point as a founder of the Super Suspicious Observers Collective. Well, that's pretty cool. It sounds like he's critical thinkers, right? That's pretty much what it is. Support us on Patreon and watch our influence change. So I think what he's saying is he's trying to build a community, because that's what people want to do. And I think that's great. But again, the way I look at electric universe is they say like gravity and everything in the universe is a subset of or part of the electric universe. But what I'm saying is right now we don't have a model that seems to be a super superior one to all the other ones. And so we are in a model revolution still. We still don't know, is it a particle model? Is it a lattice model? Is it a wave model? Is it a wave energy model like Jeff Yee's? Is it an ether model? There are a lot of good models out there. The ideas expressed in the videos presented on this treasure do not necessarily express the views of the Thunderbolts Group, Inc. Yeah, yeah, of course. But the way I would put it is, that's a stupid. Excuse me, I'm not making fun of them. I think in general, when people say there's a disclaimer, this is not his. Yeah, it's his opinion. Yeah, I mean, we got to get over that. I'm not speaking for everybody, that's for sure. So, interesting. I'll take a look at it. But obviously, yeah, he's saying the thing that I enjoyed is like that they are underappreciated elements. I think that's a really healthy way to look at it. To say that it's all that way, and I know there are electric universe people that say, look, I think it's great. I like the idea of us looking more at the electrical side, what we call the electrical side. What I would call the electrical side is that's a good question. I'll have to ask my dad that question. I'll have to write this down. How would we define in our model what people call the electric universe? Whoa. What is electric EU in TPM, the particle model? Whoa. Look at that. So there you go. Let's see what else here. Periodic table. Yep. Nothing isn't as it seems. Electron. Nothing isn't as it seems. Oh, that's his name. I keep reading that. It's like, sorry about that. I have my mouth and input and output, and the odds that the electron doesn't work similar to the human body. Even magnetism works in a similar fashion to the human body. Again, it's systems. M equals E over C, or such origin of Einstein formula. Me, myself, Dissident Science. The reason I join on Friday nights is that I think you have a good attitude about things, and you don't have to be correct. Boy, are we not correct. It's so funny because my dad and I are our worst critics. I mean, we pound our model to pieces. I mean, I'm constantly saying, you know, I have this problem with our model that how can a particle go for 10 billion years and get to our eye from another place across the universe? But of course, if it's a ether, then it has to smash against others. So for 10 billion 10 billion years, you're transmitting something through an elastic collision. You know, we think about this and says, you know, is there something that's going to totally just trash our theory, you know, or trash our model? It's not a theory. So absolutely. Let's see. Yes, suspicious observer track seeing the same. So where are we? We're at 9:48, almost coming up to an hour that I've been here. Let me see if I can look. I'm going to look at some of the statistics. I'll get off of here. I got to be careful. I just like go flying around here and realize that I'm just surfing the web here live. I appreciate you guys coming by. I'm just going to take a look right now at the live broadcast, see what I have, if I have any more information there. Because they do give you tools with the live broadcast. I want to start trying to do this with the Facebook as well, but that requires sort of, I think, this type of service on the internet where they'll then stream it to you everywhere. Here you go. That's good. Yes, I see there. I'm going to open this up a little bit more and see what we have there. We'll get some thumbs up here. Usually tell me how many. You know, all right there. I can see this. All right, scrolling through. 5 watching now. I don't know, the peak was maybe about 7 people. It's a little slower tonight. The other time I was doing this, but I think maybe if I announced this, it would help instead of me just flying on. So, and I know people came in the beginning and sort of bopped out of it. I know I didn't plan much tonight, if anything, and I think that's also something I need to do a little bit more and talk about a certain thing. I think that's going to help. But I will be talking about ether coming up for those of people who are here and didn't hear me in the beginning. I am putting together what ether is because I'm starting to realize that I talk about these things, and even though they're pretty well known in our community, they're not known to everybody. So maybe mainstream should follow your lead. Yeah, probably. Let's see. Me? Hell no. I am only focused on finding proof of gravity existence. So far, no dice. Well, I guess, you know, you get to be very pedantic about the words, what it means. What do you mean finding proof of gravity? Okay, I'll take that phrase myself and tell you, break it down. First of all, there's no proof of anything. So yeah, you're not going to find proof of anything. So if you're looking for proof, forget it. If you're saying that gravity doesn't exist, I guess what it is that's one of the fundamental things. And our particle model has a huge basis of what gravity is. Gravity is something that keeps things together so things don't fly apart basically in the universe, and it happens not only at this level, it happens at the subatomic level and below that and below that. The other thing in our model that we have is just flowing particles that flow together, sort of like that, you know, that also causes attractions and repulsions and keeps things together. But it actually does that from the gravity from that below that level. So depending on your model, what that means, I'm not sure. So I think you have to be real clear on what that question is. You have to be really understand that, in my opinion, in many people's opinion, you don't have proof. You don't have proof of anything. I'm getting so tired of this like cord right next to my head. I've got old drives here. It's like I'm looking at it myself. I think I'm getting tired of it. There, it's gone. It's got like this little thing next to my head there. I'm going to be moving probably next year. I'm going to miss this place. It goes way up there, and it's got this pretty cool. You know, look at this. Isn't this the coolest thing? When we bought this townhouse here in Boca, it had this. So pretty cool. But yeah, you got to be careful with phrases like that. I think it's provocative, saying, well, you know, we're trying to find proof that there's no gravity. Or if you get the book like Physics on the Fringe, another one I should talk about. I know Margaret Wortham may be even watching these sometimes. It's worth getting this book. Physics on the Fringe is a mainstream journalist who talked with somebody in our group, James Carter, and his model, and also came to our conference that my family hosted in Long Beach, California. And I'm in this book, and I'm not proud of that. It's just a fact. But it's pretty interesting read. And actually, when I've read it before, oh, see, I've even got her saying there. There she is. She was on NPR and all over the place. She's sort of known. To David, with immense admiration for your work with the NPA, let's stay in touch. Margaret Wortham. And that was written on April 21st, 2012. And I'll give it to her. I will absolutely say that she went into this world. She picked somebody safe, which is James Carter, and I don't mean to, and he has his whole, and I will include him on our website for Science Woke, but he has a sort of a ringed structured theory. It's very interesting. I love his work. I absolutely admire it. He is more of a loner, so he was supposed to speak at our conference in Vancouver because we were close to him, and he was on his way or something. He is a little bit shy. I think that's part of it, and I really wish I would have seen him and had him talk, because I admire his work, and he has an amazing idea for gravity. Gravity isn't. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a person you may like then. Proof of gravity. Nothing isn't as it seem. Hey, you need to get this book. You need to get the book. Here it is. No, that's not. That's the Italian book. Where's James Carter's book? Oh, I may have it. He sent it to me. I'm sorry, I'm looking for books. I'm just so scatterbrained. I'm scatterbrained like Einstein because he was disorganized, and disorganized shows you're smart. I hate that. No, disorganized shows you're disorganized, pretty much. Universal, man, I'll turn around and right after we're done, I'll find it. But he has a book, James Carter. I'll show it to you in this book here. But what's your name? Nothing isn't as this. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because he says gravity doesn't exist either. Gravity comes from everything's expanding. So gravity isn't a push from a particle pushing us down. It's not sucking, which of course is stupid. In attraction, there's no such thing in physics. You only have pushes, you don't have pulls. But anyways, different philosophical. Think about it. There's only pushes, no pulls. Even a coffee cup. Here's a coffee cup handle. My father says, oh, I'm going to pull a coffee cup toward me. No, you're putting your finger in there and pushing it from behind. So there you go. Anyways, he says that gravity is from everything expanding at a constant rate. So when we're being pushed down, it's because it's constantly pushing up on us. Because the Earth's just getting bigger all the time. But everything gets bigger, so we can't absorb it. I can't say it's wrong. This is what I say, folks. It doesn't matter. If it's a good model and people like it and it's useful and it can show us things and we can do things we never did before, we call that a useful model. Newton's equations are very useful. There are no more useful equations on the planet than Newton's stuff. So. Oh yeah, I watch Lisa's goofy videos. They're fun. She's got her spiel down too at the end. I'm the Lisa lounging lizard, Lisa loudly lady, and me. I sit there and have to do. I literally start my videos probably sometimes 6 times to get my spiel right. I'm getting better at it, but she just rattles those off. You know, cats and people. It's almost, you could almost make a Netflix mini series out of these things. And she does things with her viewers and stuff and live stuff. She's way better than me. I mean, heck, I would love to see you there. Yeah, absolutely. I watch her. You know, I don't tune in on the live ones because usually, you know, I'm busy. But I do watch now and then. I will pick up what you're putting down, as they say. Vacuum is inward tension. True. Laugh out loud, Dave. I have forgotten it from time to time. Yeah, maybe you started again. But anyways, welcome everybody. I appreciate it. If you're a new subscriber, I put together videos, at least hopefully a couple a week. I'm trying to do these live ones. I'm not sure right now I'm successful at this yet. I'm doing them and letting sort of them happen organically, but I'm still not, you know, convinced. I think people enjoy the conversation. I think if people come at questions, I think that works really well. And, you know, I don't necessarily stimulate people enough to maybe get them to, how do you say, tune in and come in. What's he going to do now? I think if you know, other channels like the Progressives channels, and I'm going to do something like that myself in the future. You know, they usually talk about news items, or they've got a big enough audience. I've got a couple thousand, but they don't seem to be as active as, you know, maybe other ones. But also doing it regularly, but having more of, I think, of what the purpose of it, other than me, you know, answering questions, which is good. But maybe I need to do some type of more advertising, or do more, you know, get it in advance, try to, you know, market it better. I mean, some nights I do have something I want to speak about, and maybe that helps. But even then, I think it depends on the group of people that come and whether or not they get their questions answered, or if they're new, or if they've been here. We're coming up to an hour. It's actually a little bit over an hour, and an hour and, oh, look at there, it's got a timer, an hour and 7 minutes and 47 seconds. But what else can I say? We have our conference coming up next year at the University of Washington. I do think I have that video. Maybe I can show you that. It's a little minute-and-a-half video. Let's see, youtube.naturalphilosophy.org. It's an interesting video I put together. It's just got a soundtrack. Use some of the soundtrack. I can use all my music from my soundtrack from my play all. No, CMPS 2019. What do I have here? Hold on. All right. Here we go. It is there. Now hold on to that. Get it over here and see if I can then get the sound on it. Bring that up. I'll have to bring mine down. But this is a minute and 43 seconds, and a little advertisement for our conference coming up in Washington, D.C. if you happen to be in the area. And even if you're a newbie and you want to try it, I will tell you it is absolutely a great time. You can check out our channel at youtube.com naturalphilosophy.org. What's really great is I've come up with a system now that's a multicam system that goes live to, we bought a, it's called Sling Studio. It's a router that allows us to have up to actually 10 high-def cameras, which you can use any Apple Apple telephone as a camera. We also have a zoomable camera that we also use. So and we can have the slides all digitally. So we literally go live to YouTube, which is then recorded. Before we'd have to go through all this process. So that's pretty cool. So if you can't make it, you can always tune in live. But this is it. Let me get this going and see if you can hear this. I'm going to mute myself, so if I'm jabbing away without you hearing me, it's because I forgot to unmute myself. But let's see if we get the audio output and all this for this guy. Okay, let's give it a shot. It's only 1 minute and 43 seconds. Yay, it worked. I got it to play. Hopefully you can hear that, but it's pretty cool. Gerald Pollack discovered, he spoke at our I don't think it was me, I didn't even discover this guy. It was Greg Volk, a very good friend, probably my best friend in the dissident science world, other than my father now. But he found this guy, and he discovered that water actually sort of modifies itself and becomes into rings, hexagonal rings, and he calls it easy water. And that's why it beads at the top, why you can float a coin on top. I've talked about this before. And he actually encountered, he was like treated like a dissident who said Einstein was wrong, which is bizarre. I mean, this stuff this one you can, if you get proof, but you can certainly get x-rays of stuff that says this stuff is in this formation. You know, if there's anything, if you can say proof, you can certainly, your model says this is what we look at, this is the electron microscope of these molecules, and they look just like what they're predicted. And what happens is water, this is why you can ice skate. What happens is when you have the crystalline form, it melts, it gets into this easy, and it becomes sheets, literally sheets of molecules, and those things slide over each other. And that actually is very important in the process of life and in cells. This guy is phenomenal, but I think if you notice, let me see if I can go back. You're not seeing it yet. Okay, because you'll get echo when you do that. So let me go there. But Dr. Joe, and he's talking about scientific activism. And what that means is that this guy has been a molecule, something you can show that really is the molecule the way you say it is. I mean, you're saying that the molecule is made up of a hydrogen and oxygen and a hydrogen and oxygen, so it's H2O3 or something like that. Don't quote me on it. You look it up for yourselves. I can hardly remember anything. So basically, though, you know, he's going to be talking about the struggle. That's one of the things in our new website. We're going to be talking about the struggles. In fact, I got to do that. I'm going to go to this right now. Basecamp. You can go to headquarters.naturalphilosophy.org. This is all on our website, so I'm not doing anything that you can't, but you won't necessarily see this. Well, yes, you can. I even go through it, and I'm going to put in here. Science. Okay, where is it? Science Woke Go Live. I'm going to put in my tasks to do, general tasks. I'm going to put in here. Do I have people adding people? Fights mainstream. Okay, here we go. Put this in here. Click on it. I'm going to put this while I'm talking about it. This is the way we get things done in our organization. We pay $900 a year for this, and it allows us to have anybody anywhere in the world work together. And I'm going to put in here add. So I can't remember his name. Joe Pollock. Gerald Pollock to scientists and to fighting big science. So he's going to be in 2 of those. I'll assign it to myself, and I won't put a due date on it because I have so much. I have no time to do all this stuff, but I try to do it anyways. But anyways, this is really interesting. Again, what's really cool about the conferences that there's 2 things. One is you can just immerse yourself in science and cosmology and physics, where most people around you don't care about it. If it's like you're at lunch, you go, hey, I'm watching Dave the Hilster and there's Dissident Science Channel. He's talking about ether. Man, ether is a really cool idea. I just saw his video on it. No, coming up with it, not yet. And you know, it's like, and the people are like, I don't care. What's that? That's not interesting to me. Well, you get to a conference where everybody's interested in all that, so you are immersed in a community that all cares about what you say, and they don't care about your title. So if you get up there and you're Dr. Joe Pollock and you have a PhD in something, if you say something stupid, they don't care. He's not going to say something stupid, but anyways, what I'm saying is titles don't matter. A person gets up there, and I've heard people talk that have no degree on anything, and it's been one of the most interesting talks I've heard. So that's really cool. And plus, you always learn something. Man, there's not every conference my mind gets blown at least 4 or 5 times. I mean, just blown. And I've been in this a long, long time. The conference in Vancouver was Peter Erickson and his variable number system blew my mind. So anyways, it's certainly worth thinking about. You can go to, as it says at the end of this, you can go to I'll go to it, 2019.naturalphilosophy.org, and you can then see about it. I'll let that get up here, and then I'll show it to you here, and it gets you to this event. This is sort of squashed down, so I apologize. It's not, looks good. There's our little, here's our poster for it. And you know, we already have people lining up. We already have 11 people signed up for us. We have usually in these over 20 people, 20 to 30 people. We're trying to get up to 30 or 40 this year, but we're going to start pushing it in January. This is a little early, but the good thing is it's all set up in the place at the venue, information. It's really cool. If you don't have a lot of money, we make it so it's very easy. If you tell us you're a hardship and it's $150 for the conference, and if you're under hardship, we will easily waive your fees if that's something you can't do. And we also have, at the university, we do have dorms. So the dorms are really cheap, sometimes like $40 a day. So you can do this in a couple $100. And, you know, like I said, I'm thinking this year to do a contest and maybe even have, because we have donors, that maybe even do a contest of some kind for a person like yourself that maybe want to go but don't have the funds to actually win a trip there, and have your room and board paid for and your meal and flight. as long as you're not like from someplace that it's going to cost $2,000 or something like that. Most likely, we may have to limit it to to Canada, the United States. And the people are like, oh, Dave, oh, hello, 10 people. I guess I'm going to keep going here. Nice, Dave. The dorms look cozy. Oh, look good. People are actually looking at that stuff. Okay. More afterwards, some of the live gigs I have learned. Yeah, he's talking about you're doing stuff. I understand that. Live gigs. Oh no, so sound issue last year is in one of the sessions. Oh no, so no more sound. Yes, absolutely no more sound issues. If you go to our 2018 talks, there are no. Well, I lied to you guys. I lied to you. Our new system, which uses an iPad and this specific router, the problem was we didn't check to make sure the audio was only coming from our main camera, and so it would switch sometimes to a camera that wasn't picking up its audio. Oh, I lied to it. Now I feel bad, but I promise you, next year we will we will know how to use that system. We're not perfect. We do the best we can for the small amount of money we do. You know, it's thousands of dollars a year that we do it. It never goes beyond, I think nonprofits got to go beyond $30,000 or $50,000. Heck, we don't get that. We used to, when we had a lot of people, we'd have a bigger budget because of the conferences and stuff, but we're well below that. Nice, Dave. Dorms look cozy. You should promote your documentary more. It's great for beginners. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, oh, people have left. I see people coming and going. Of course they have to. You got lives and coming in. But yes, actually, if you check out Dave D. Hilster and Einstein Wrong, you can, I think there are some coupons left. I left them up and running, that there are still some free viewings of my documentary. It's certainly a very wonderful film. Don't worry, it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to sleep on it. It's a very interesting story. So, live broadcast, yes. On YouTube, yes. Okay, that is part of the Electric Universe interview by Richard D. Hall from across the pond. I'm sure you can find the next two parts. Okay, he's talking about that. So he says, Science Gone Wild. Hee hee. Very, very funny. People are dropping off. Must be time. But I think I'm going to be ending it here. But we had as many as 10 people here. That was quite good. Love the argument between the giant of science and those session. Oh, maybe there's something going on there. Side topic. But anyways, I guess that's probably all I'm going to talk, I guess, tonight. I'm going to let you go. I saw 10 people there, but they're jumping out. So I do appreciate it. I am going to start doing some more thoughts because people are showing up. I want to think about what this really can be different from my own videos where I just prepare them and talk to you guys. They seem to be a lot longer than I normally would like, but if you have any suggestions at any time, or if you want to come with questions, you know, I'm thinking about maybe doing some things to attract people to it. You know, gimmicks, you need gimmicks to get them here, but what is it that would be interesting? I think the obvious thing that's different here is you can ask me a question and I can interact with you. And a lot of times that's, more interesting. We do have a video conferencing system. I know YouTube, it's better because you get more people on it. But I think we can maybe even set up Skype and have people even talk. And maybe, hey, that would be really interesting. Maybe we can set up a night where I can Skype, like with Lisa or somebody. And we'll do that. She's going to probably freak out. Or maybe she's even gone now, but well, I don't know anything about it, but that would be very interesting to have that dynamic. But anyways, thank you so much. And like I said, if you haven't seen the documentary and you can't spend $3 to see it, well, Dave, why do you charge for it? Well, I have a nice delivery system, which is Vimeo, which has an on-demand system. You can buy it and watch it anytime you want over the internet, on your phone, on TVs now, because Vimeo, you can see things on TV. And it's in high def. So The money actually pays to keep it in that mode. I don't like just putting it out there on YouTube. I like to keep it. It does have investors, and I like to keep it in a mode where we can control it. And who knows, maybe someday it will start making, making $300 or $400 a year or something like that. Enough people watch it. But, maybe as time goes on, my feeling is people will, it may pick up steam. And I think that's what's really happening now. So any more questions? Oh, Skype is cool. And yes, oh, you would do it. Cool. Well, that's maybe what I need to do. And I also could get other people too, not only you guys, but have other people, and maybe even have Skype people have a Skype where I can put them on and we can interact and do it that way. I think the whole trick would be to do it here on YouTube, because I do have Fuse, and if I were to do Fuse running but then OBS on top of that, I'll think about it, because the way you can do it is just, like I said, a Skype, and then if people call in with Skype, then we can do like one-on-one discussion sessions and have that kind of thing. So that maybe work out. We'll try that. All right, guys. We'll see you, guys and gals. Thank you so much. I appreciate everybody. And this is David D. Hilster, and I am a critical thinker. And as I always say, stay critical, stay thinking. I am Dave D. Hilster, your science therapist, trying to get you to the promised land of being science woke. And you'll get there. And yes, we're still working on that website. And oh, that's another thing. I'll talk about it next time. Remind me. We've got. Hopefully, I'll have some exciting news about that website, because I'm trying to solve a big problem, and I've got an idea about that. So, ciao for now, guys.